Hey there, it's Jamie from the Crafters Workshop. I see a few people starting to come in. Hey. Nice to see everybody. There we go. Hey, it's Jamie from the Crafters Workshop. I am here in New York taking over the live for Courtney today. We're going to be doing some fun stuff with Stencil Butter, Tacky-when-Dry, some stencils. We're going to have a really good time. So, hey, nice to see you. It's Renee. Awesome. Lovely. Let me see. I'm going to just pull. I've got my laptop over here. Let me see if I can make this all work all together. I'll let a few people. Yay, nice to see you. Hi, Jan. I'm so glad you're watching. Welcome from New York. And Karen. Hi. Awesome. I am hopefully going to be able to see everybody. Nice. Thanks, Mary. Very, very nice. So it's a beautiful day here in New York. That's where I'm coming from. Hi, Susan. And Joanne. I'm Jamie from the Crafters Workshop. I have been making stencils and all the fun things that go with stencils for the last 28 years, if you can believe that. So I'm excited to be taking over Courtney's Facebook Live. Oh, I'm looking forward to showing you all sorts of great things. I'm so glad you're watching. So you've got me in my studio. I've got all sorts of fun stencil butter, pretty colors to show you today. I've got my palette pad paper ready to go. I've got my spreader tool, my palette knife, and my Tacky-when-Dry. It's right in front of me. So this is one of the fun things we're going to be featuring today, Tacky-when-Dry. It is a fun medium that goes on white. There we go. And it dries clear. And it dries sticky. I mean, really sticky. Like, sometimes I've done stuff and I've forgotten that, because it dries completely clear like glass, and I'll put something else on top of it, and there we go. It is stuck to it. Jenny, so glad you could join us. Awesome. All right. So I will, I'm going to move this over to my workstation. Hold on a second. I should have some little songs for you right now. Hold on, and let me flip it over. Perfect. It's not upside down. That's a plus. Hang on. Let me get it in properly. Whoop. Yeah, I know. Isn't it funny? Like, we all have like all this room in our, well, maybe not all this room in our craft area, but then we like, sorry, I've got some operating problems in the background there. And then we try to work in this teeny tiny space. So I've just got my, you know what? We're not going to use a cord. We're going to just hope all is good. All right. I've got this lined up. Let me, so we're going to do fun stuff. I'm just trying to get it so it's not going to teeter-totter. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, here we go. No teetering, no tottering, just full-on craft. Now, one of the things that Courtney said she would put out there is our fun PDF on stencil butter. And, sometimes it's hard to keep track of what you have. You come to the store and you're like, I forgot, did I have summer sky or cornflower? Or did I have ocean mist or sea foam? So I made this PDF, and Courtney will have a bunch of them. This is just on copy paper, and I check off the colors as I have them. Then I did something a little bit fun, and I printed it onto some cardstock. And then as I use one of my colors, just kind of as a little swatch sheet, let me grab, I know that Courtney just got in some gorgeous colors, and one of the colors that I saw that she got in was denim. So here we go. here's the stencil butter. Now, if you've never used it before, we call it stencil butter because it is like room temperature butter. It is so delicious and smooth and creamy. And like, I'm gonna stick my finger. I mean, look at that. If you have a stick of butter that you're letting come to room temperature on the counter before you're making some Toll House cookies, that is the texture. But as creamy as it is, it's also shimmery. So it dries glossy, and it also has like a shimmer to it. So it's glossy and shimmery. And then watch what I've decided I'm gonna do. As I open something up, I'm just gonna make like a little finger swirl on the color. So eventually I will have little dots of all of the colors that I have. So I thought that was something fun, brand new. You guys, you're the first to see this. Nobody else has seen me with my little project. And of course, everyone needs some baby wipes. So I'm gonna put this somewhere safe where I'm not gonna step on it, which is underneath my table. So as I said, I'm gonna pull out my palette paper pad, which is, it's a palette, and it's got this wax paper, but just like a pad, it's attached at the top, but this pad is also attached at the bottom. So while I put colors on here, this side doesn't come up until I'm ready to just throw the sheet away. So it's a disposable palette. So let me put that. So I'm going to do something fun, kind of as a little warm up and a little talk about stencil butter and Tacky-when-Dry all at the same time. So I'm going to take just a sponge brush, real easy peasy, nothing wild and crazy. And make sure that whenever I cut down my paper, I save all of the pieces, you know, the little parts that I don't use. Oh, I see I see that you're leaving me a little, you have a question, and let me see if I can, I'm going to try to open up the screen so I can see. There we go. Hang on, give me 1 sec, and I can see your questions. Oh, good. Courtney is on too. So when you see Scrapbook-N-Memories responding, that's Courtney. So you can put all of your questions there. She's going to respond. Thank you, Courtney. Okay, so paper. This is watercolor paper. I love using the good stuff because then my project looks good. So I'm just going to just do a little bit of water on the surface. And my water, here you can see my water is already a little dirty, which is fine because I was actually going to use turquoise. And I am telling you, I saw the colors that Courtney brought in this week. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. So hopefully I'll be hitting all the ones that she has in. And I'm just taking a little bit on my brush. And I'm closing the stencil butter. Did you notice how I did this? I did not leave it open because these will last a really long time as long as it's closed. And now I am just going to paint on the surface. Look at that. And I can leave it like this. It'll be a really fun, interesting background with a lot of brush strokes. That would be great. But for today's project, I'm getting it a little bit wetter. Really getting it wet. I mean, like pouncing it and putting moisture on there. And watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some kosher salt. I just put it in this so I can manage it. I'm going to take a little bit and sprinkle some salt. Really, whatever chunky salt you have is fine. Even if you have a little salt left over from the snow season, that's fine too. And you can sort of see how the salt already is pulling it's pulling the water and in turn the pigment towards each of the granules of salt. Kind of neat, right? So I'm going to let this dry. And with the magic of television, I did this one about an hour ago. So now this is completely dry, but you can see the salt is still attached, big chunkies of salt. So I'm just going to, I don't have my garbage right here, but I have it underneath. So I'm just going to scrape it. Take my word for it. I am scraping it with my hand. I just went like this into the garbage. Now take a look at the texture. I just got, they look like almost little stars, and different types of salt will leave different types of texture. So this is one particular kosher salt. If you have the salt flakes, if you have really chunky salt, even if you have the fine salt that you probably use at the table, that will give you a totally different look. So anyway, here we have our nice background. And what I do, I know a few of you maybe have seen when I've done other lives before, I keep a little box. These are all of my green, blue aquas. So whenever I make paper and I have some left over, here's a piece of watercolor paper that I made, I just throw it into this box, the stuff that I don't use, because I'm going to use it. I swear. I'm going to use it, but so now we have this one right here, and I'm going to take one of our new stencils. This is a dots stencil, and Courtney just got these in. It's a really pretty one. And just, let's say I want to give it a little bit of texture. This is where I'm going to come in using my Tacky-when-Dry. Now, Tacky-when-Dry, it does need some time to dry, but it starts to dry very quickly, which is why I'm going to take some out and put it right onto my palette pad. I'm not going to leave this open and kind of dip in and out, because if I do that, it's going to start to form a skin right in the jar, and I don't want that to happen. So putting that aside, now I've got some Tacky-when-Dry on my palette. I'm going to pick it up on the bottom of my palette knife. Did you see that? So if this is the top, okay, this is the top, this is the bottom. So this will allow me then to scrape at a 45-degree angle. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it down so it's flush against the paper. And just like when you're frosting a cake, you know, a cake with crumbs, most cakes do, the more you play with it, the worse it comes out. So it's the same with our stencil butter and stencils. So I'm holding it down on both sides, and I'm going to just come across, ooh, and there looks like there were some chunkies right there, some yuckies, getting those off. Pick up a little bit more on the bottom, scrape it across, and when I have a nice covering, I stop. And I'm going to keep holding down with one finger and slowly release the top here and roll it off. And then this is going immediately into some water, because what happens, everything dries on your tools as well. So I'm going to just show you. See what goes on white? And the nice thing, you can tell it's got dimension. That's what sets our products apart from anything else. There's a lot of dimension. You can't do this with paint. Trust me, I tried for years, and that's why I developed all of our butters and all of our mediums, our gel medium and our Tacky-when-Dry. But I mean, look at that. You really get a lot of pretty dimension. So I'm going to let that dry for a moment before I move it. And I'm cleaning my palette knife. And I might even put this into some water. And I'm also, just because it's Tacky-when-Dry, I'm actually going to, do you see how I did that? I just lifted up the page, and I'm going to just throw this away, because otherwise it's going to end up getting on all sorts of stuff. So this has to dry completely clear, not a little bit clear, but completely clear. And I did one, again, about an hour ago, just to show you. Look at the difference. When it's, do you see that? Look, it looks like glass. So when it looks like glass, and when you look at it this way, there's no white. White, no white. Okay, so when it looks like this, that's when you're ready to go. So I'll put this one, I'm going to put this away, and I always say away from kids and cats, because all you need is your cat to be curious and then just to walk right across it. So again, putting it somewhere where I am not going to touch it. I'm not going to put something on top of it. I'm going to be good. And as you probably know, we sell a lot of beautiful foils. And I believe Courtney's got some pretty ones that we have to play with. This is my little stash. They come 12 sheets in a pack. And then once I open the pack, I just curl them and I put them into this little 6-inch little box of mine. I know, so many colors. So this one is green pear. That's a pretty color. And then, I don't know what this one, I think this one is Seafoam, but I'm looking for something with a little more pop to it. And that one is Lime Green. And oh, this one's pretty. This one, I don't think it's turquoise. I have to remember which one it is. So nice. Okay, so I've got this going, and a little trick that I learned in the wintertime when my fingers were very cold, I found that if I take my heat tool and I just warm it, now be careful, you're not burning it, you're not bubbling it, you're just warming it. So let me just show you real fast. Wherever I touch, and you go pretty side up and just touch down, and I'm using the ball of my finger. I am not using my fingernail. So I'm just it's a press. It's a nice soft press, and then I peel away. Oh my gosh. Is that spectacular? Look at that. Now, of course, I mean, you could just do one color, which is very, very pretty, but why do one color when you have so many pretty colors? So this one is the pear green. Now I'm gonna press down. And if I miss any areas, that's actually fine. I can come back. And I'm peeling back. And then I'll do a little bit of green. So it's kind of like a little bit of a rainbow effect. I'm such a rainbow girl. That is my thing. Rainbow order. And now let's say I want to go back in there and get a few in there that I missed. And again, I'm just running my finger just around it. I'm not scratching. It's just pressing. Oof. I want to go back to the blue. I really do love this blue. So again, pretty side up. And I am just recycling all parts of this foil. I really do. I save it until there's like nothing left. And I see I missed a little bit up top there. So I'm just pressing down. Oh my gosh. Look at how nice this is. Oh, let me tilt it, get a good tilt. Oh, whoa. See how pretty that is? Now you're probably thinking, okay, what am I doing with this? So I've got some areas over here. I'll do the pear green over there. What are you gonna do with this? Well, I mean, I know it's crazy, but I really love bookmarks. I just love the idea of you've treated yourself to an actual, book in your hand, not on your Nook, not on your phone, and now you've got to save your page. And are you gonna dog-ear the page, or are you gonna do a little bookmark? I think I got all of my spots. I think I got it all. You can also just lay it on top, and wherever there's a spot, it'll grab. I think I got them all. Yeah, I got them all. So once I have this, I could cut this into strips. I could cut it into a square. I could leave it like this and mount it onto something else. I'll give you a little, I could pull out one of my pens and do some doodling. This is just a little project that I did, a little piece of paper. You can see where I threw down the salt right here. Just, I watercolored with probably, it looks like I probably used turquoise and lime green, which are just delicious combinations. And I made some paper. And then when the paper dried, I did all sorts of squiggles and swirls. I just let my pen fall around. I mean, if you ever needed another reason to buy some more pens, this was a good reason. But I have a feeling you have some at home. I even used a white gel pen. You can kind of see the white parts in there. I did little stars around the stars. And then the last thing I did was, you can see right here, I did some Tacky-when-Dry using, another, I don't think I don't know if it was this guy, but it was another stencil. And I put down some more Tacky-when-Dry, let that dry, and then definitely this was green pear because I love green pear. Look at that. And then I just bought a little 4x4 frame on Amazon. It's just, I mean, I could put a little saying in here. I could rubber stamp something. I could do something on the computer. Just, you're the best, thinking of you, hang in there, I believe in you. I mean, just, I have a bunch of college kids who I mentor, and I sometimes I send them little things. This might be a little thing I send, you know, super easy. Just pop it open. So people are always wondering, what the heck do you do with stuff? So there you go. That's one of them. All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So gorgeous. So what to do with some of our fun stencils? Here is our birch trees stencil. And I pre-cut some 6x6 papers. It's just the size that we tend to use. I'm going to use the smooth side. And I'm just going to put the birch trees on top. Now, sometimes I use this particular stencil with colored paper underneath. That's kind of fun because with the stencil, wherever you put down the stencil, the color that's underneath, the white, is what's going to stay there. So just to give you a little sneak peek, I painted the background of this paper first, and we'll talk a little about what I did, and then I did the stenciling on top. So this time we're going to put a bunch of pretty colors, and we're going to do some ombre on this. So let's see, what pretty colors. I think we should start with some turquoise. Let's see, I think I'll put it right here. A little bit of turquoise. And if you're wondering, like, how do you know what colors look good together? And I'm cleaning my palette knife in between so I don't contaminate. I was playing a little bit a while ago, and I was definitely getting a little wild and crazy with the colors. Got some colors and other colors. I'm gonna do seafoam next. So you can kind of tell these guys are friends, right? They're both, this is the dark version, this is the light version. Turquoise is a lot of blue, kind of goes in with the blue family, right? But it also, I'm putting a little bit back in here, but I don't put stuff back in after it's been sitting out for a while, because then you also get these chunkies that end up staying in your jar. So yeah, how do you know what color goes with what? Here's my handy dandy color wheel. On a color wheel, you've got your primary colors, your blue, your red, and your yellow. And then, as you know, blue and red, they make violet. Blue and yellow, they make green, and yellow and red makes orange. So right now we are around here in the blue-green. That's the turquoise area. You can kind of see that. So we're hanging out over here. So I always say you can go 1, 2, 3. You can go 3 steps to the left, 3 steps to the right. And you can have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have a total of 5 of these colors in your colorway if you're going with ombre, and it will usually look really pretty. So we're gonna stay right in this area. I'm not gonna venture into the warm tones, the ones that are like for blue-green, red-orange, right across from there. That would be very jarring. It gives a lot of vibration. And also when it's wet, when they smoosh together, they make kind of a gray, brown, black, which is great. If you're trying to dull something down, that's fine. But if you're going for something harmonious, that's why you stay with all of their friends, okay? You don't venture out. You've got some brother and a sister, and you got some first cousins going on over here, but you don't go any further. All right, so that's kind of how I decide who's going to play with who on what day. So let me see. I want to pull out. We got that. I feel like we need a little bit of a green chartreuse. Chartreuse is pretty. Let's put chartreuse over there. That'll be kind of nice. So this is kind of a green and a yellow, but green is made with blue and yellow, and this also has blue. That's made It's a very simple, it's also got blue in its makeup. And what other pretty color do you, let's see, do I want to stick that guy in there? I'm not so sure. Or, I could do a little pear green. That's pretty. This is the pear green. We're going to put a little bit of pear green in here. And then maybe we'll go with some, maybe some lime green. I think that's going to be a nice one. Okay. And a little lime green. Or terre verte. Let's see, which one do I want to do? I think lime green, because this has a lot of yellow going on, and the lime green has more yellow. Okay, so I've got that on there. All right, I've got 5 colors. This is called ombre, O-M-B-R-E, so with E with an accent going up in the air. And that just means a bunch of pretty colors that are going to blend nicely together. And to really blend it pretty, I'm going to take our, this is our butter spreader, and I'm going to scoop it up. So I'm going to take it from about here and scoop. See how I got that on the edge? And then it didn't go all the way, the green didn't go all the edge, so I'm just going to load that up with my palette knife. Beautiful. Okay, I think I'm happy. But I'm not going to waste these, don't you worry. I am going to get my baby wipe out. I'm cleaning as I go. Okay, I'm all set for what I'm going to do next. All right, and here's my palette pad, putting that aside. So remember, I just took my my birch trees and I lined it up on my piece of paper. Now I always leave myself a little room in my thoughts where I might trim the edge. So I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going to worry too much. And I think I'm going to go up and down. I could go side to side and get kind of like a sunset feeling. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, wild and crazy. Here we go. So again, it's all on the bottom. I'm going to touch down at about a little more than 45 degrees, and I'm going to bring it across. Didn't make it all the way, so now I'm going to drag some more of this across. Ready? Here we go. Little more pressure. Bringing it across, bringing it across. Give myself a little more runway here. I've got a little gloppage here, so I'm going to, one more time, bring it across, and I'm kind of pressing down as I get to the end. There we go. Okay, this is it. Don't play with it. I know you want to, but don't. I'm going to hold down, see the bottom left here? I'm going to hold down at one corner and I'm going to pick up from the opposite and I'm going to roll it away. Isn't that pretty? Look at all that depth. This is super wet, but super pretty. It's going to come out really nice. And then I also have this wetness all on my stencil. And let's see, I guess I'll use one of my, I'm going to take a piece of paper and I put it on like a clean area, sort of. There's a little glop there. I'm going to ignore that. And I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to make a monoprint. Let's see what happens. Pressing with my fingers. Let's see. And I'm just the same way, I'm going to roll it off. Ooh, we got some there. Okay, that's kind of fun. We got a cool print there. But I'm going to try one more. Well, there's another fun thing that I like to do. I'll do it with a little section. I'm going to take some little paper towel. And if you ever can't clean your surface of whatever got stencil butter on it, you can put some isopropyl alcohol on. And I'm wetting it. Okay. Okay, now I've got kind of like I'm reactivating the paint. Okay, this whole thing now smells like alcohol. I'm going to take another piece of paper, lay it on top, and now I'm making an alcohol print. And I'm gonna press. You can kind of see the alcohol coming through, but the cool thing is, two things are cool. It's very good paper, you know, it's watercolor paper, and alcohol completely dries, so that's fun too. Let's see what kind of print I got. That's kind of neat, right? So another neat pull off of that. Okay, and now I can just, I'm gonna clean my stencil. What I could also do is have another piece of paper underneath here, and you can kind of see what it would look like. All this paint is coming off. Watch my surface. And then I get another print, but I didn't work that fast to do that. I didn't think to lift it up. Okay, so now we're gonna do something very similar, but this time we're gonna do Stencil Butter and Tacky-when-Dry at the same time. And you can see I'm drying this, I'm washing and drying the stencil because stencils like to be dry. If they're not dry and they're not clean, you're gonna get all sorts of other impressions that you didn't want. So here, like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a quick rinse. I've got a little pan of water. I'm gonna take a paper towel. Ooh, we picked up an extra little yummy thing. Good job. And I'm just gonna roll it. And that's one way of drying it. Just give it a little roll in a roll of paper towels. Let me do it again. Give it a roll. You know, but that's one of the questions that everyone asks is, how do you clean stencils? So easy. I always say, however you would get something off your countertop, if you have like an old Formica countertop like I do, however you would clean it, that's how you get it off. If you, you could use water, you could use a little alcohol, you could use a little spray Windex. I usually just run it underwater, but if I've been a bad girl and I let everything dry and get yucky, well, then I have to be a little more creative. Okay, let's do this one more time. We've got this back on here. Oh, and I have all my pretty stuff. Hold on. Before I even get to that, never waste anything. So I've got all this pretty stuff here, right? It's still wet. Watch what I can do. I can make a fun little rainbow. I can stop right there, or I can make it juicier and blendier. Woo, that got a little crazy. It got a little crazy right there. And then wash this off. Make sure you wash this off. Now you're like, okay, what are you gonna do with that? Well, that becomes the base for another card or for a scrapbook layout. You can send this through on your die cut machine. You can cut out some cool stuff, and then if you get impatient like I do, you can use your heat tool and you can bubble your butter. Hang on, here we go. So if you're a little impatient, and if you want a little bit of more texture, you can always hit it with the heat tool. Now, the more wet it is, the bigger the bubbles, and the drier it is, the tinier and more effervescent the bubbles are. And look at all this cool detail you've got right here. And imagine taking either a word die, or a flower die, and just putting it on top here, and then laying those onto like a crisp white card, or even using the words on a scrapbook layout. So something to think about there. And then don't worry, we've got all this pretty stuff. Sometimes if I don't use all of this, I'll let it dry. And then, so this is like a day or two ago. I let this dry on my, so it's a sheet, right? One of the sheets. And then because Stencil Butter is so flexible, I can just pull off, look at this. I can pull this off, this whole little thing, and then I can use some glue, I can use some gel medium, and then I can make a collage. I can use this as a little detail on a piece, you know, something wood, something paper mache. All these little chunkies are going to come off. See that? Isn't that satisfying? Look at this. So like, let's say you want it to have like this little brush stroke. Ooh. Or if I wanted to add something to here. Look at that. I just added something. Obviously I need to glue this down, but it'll stick somewhat by itself, but you do want to glue it down. Anyway, so nothing, I don't waste anything. I really don't. Here's another one. Look at this. Look at how you get all of that detail right there. Look at that. Put right there. All my favorite colors, right? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, so we've got this going. Didn't want you to think I didn't use everything because I promised I would. Okay, so we've got some colors here. I'm not sure, might use some different ones. We'll see. We'll see. You know what? I'm going to go with some pink. So I'm going to save this, and I might come back to it. But I'm going to put this aside so I don't gunk up what I'm working on. A really pretty combo is using Dune, possibly watermelon blush, and there's my last one. Ah, here we go. Rose. I think I'm just going to do these three. Dune, Rose, Watermelon. They're pretty new colors. I know, and it's kind of interesting to do it on trees, but why not? Why not? It'll be pretty. And then I'm gonna do something fun with the Tacky-when-Dry. So we're gonna do an ombre effect again with a little extra pop. Little pop of metallic. That was the rose. I just did the Dune. Dune is kind of like a matte gold. We created it, and then we were like, holy moly. This one's watermelon. We were like, holy moly, that is like such an amazing neutral color. Here, I'll show it to you again. This one is Dune. Very neutral. You know, it's so subtle. And the Dune foil transfer sheet also. I don't know if beach glass. I'm sure it's somewhere close by. Oh, Dune. I'll show you what the Dune transfer sheet. I mean, look at that color. You can kind of see it. So they come in little sheets like this. This first one is about. I'll pull it out. I'll just pull it out. So it looks like this, right? And here's the Dune. So it's like a matte. We've got our champagne gold, which is this one. You know, that's the one, you know, everybody knows this one, right? But this one is matte. But even together, they're quite nice. Alrighty, so I think instead of going across, I'll go up and down. And I think I'm gonna blend a little bit, which is kind of fun. I just grabbed a little bit of the rose and a little bit of the watermelon, and I'm not gonna completely mix it, but I'm putting it on the back of my palette knife. See, it's all on the back. And I'm just going to go across. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the rose. Whoops. Pick up a little bit of the Dune. And I'll put a little more Dune over on this side. When I do like striations, I try to make sure there's like a nice balance between the lights and the darks. And I'm gonna do a little more, I see a little spot in here, so I'm just gonna get that. And you notice that I'm not, it's not a staccato, it's a smooth swipe, right? I'm not digging. I'm not going chunk, 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 chunk when I'm going across. I'm taking a real smooth run like this. And let me get a little more on there. Ooh, look at that, pretty, pretty. And then a little bit of the darker on this side. the light up the middle. You want to have a little bit of highlights, so don't forget your highlights. Okay, that is good. You know what I think I'm going to do after I wipe my palette knife? I'm going to take my scraper just to even it all out, and I'll show you why. We're going to give it a little straightening. Okay, now it's all nice and straight. Put that down there. Give this a little clean. Perfect. Okay, so now I have this all here. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a nice clean palette knife and my Tacky-when-Dry. And this time, I'm going to put a little bit on my palette. And it's like I'm doing frosted highlights. Okay, here we go. Because I'm adding a little yumminess here and there. So, and I think my yumminess is going to be the gold. I'm thinking ahead. You're not going to get to see this because this is going to take probably a good hour to 2 hours to dry. So, but I have something to show you. But thinking ahead, I'm going to use this nice dune. So this will really pop against the pink areas. So I'm going to just kind of scrape a little bit up here, right on top of the stencil butter. Right on top. Right on top. Do you see how I'm doing that? A little bit right here. And I'm just making it layered. And then I'm going to do a little bit over here and a little bit here. And then a little bit more there. Okay, that is it. And then I'm going to take it off and we'll talk a little bit about where everything is. So I'm going to hold it down on this side, the opposite corner. I'm going to find the edge of the stencil. Here we go. And I'm rolling it. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And this is going directly into water because if I don't, then it's going to be glued. It's all just going to be glued together. So let me pick this up carefully and just kind of tell you what's going on. So we've got a beautiful ombre color, and I'm in my head. When it's all said and done, I'm gonna trim this about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and then I'm going to mount it onto probably like a deep rose. I think that'd be very pretty. It would make a really pretty card, or I could cut it to make a nice A2 card and then keep the strip that I cut off as what? A bookmark, because I love that. But just to show you, we've got this wonderful deep watermelon color, and then you see where there's white? It looks like there's a little bit of it looks like Elmer's glue, but it's not. That is where it's going to be sticky. And wherever it is sticky or tacky, like right here, that is going to be where I can touch down with the foil. So I'm going to very carefully put this away. And then Courtney knows that when you order from me, Courtney will get this finished project, and then you'll get to see it in her store. So I'm going to put it somewhere safe on a piece of paper. How am I doing here? Let me wipe my hands. It's pretty messy here. Got a lot of mess going on. Let me get that Tacky-when-Dry off my palette knife quickly. Okay, and I'm also going to just clean my surface here. One way to do it is I scrape up any of the leftovers like this, and then give it a little rub-a-dub. Sorry for the shaking. Okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world because we all know you're probably going to mount it, onto something else. Nobody's going to see the back, but the most important thing is that it's not sticky or gooey, whatever you're going to put down. And then there's some good stuff here. It's like, oof, I've got some extras. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to be careful. Right here is where the Tacky-when-Dry is, but I could scrape it, but I think even more fun would be to take one of my sponges, and my sponge is a little bit wet, and I think I'm just going to make some paper, because you never know when you need like little matchy paper going on. So I'm just kind of picking it up and just using up all of my colors. You can go thin, you can go thick. If you go thick, it's really nice. It's opaque. Here we go. And all of this texture that you see with the brush, that is what is going to, that really dries like that. So here is a fun little piece. This will dry in less than 10 minutes and it'll be really nice. It's watermelon with dune together. So it's gonna have like some coral tones. And then all I do is I just take my palette sheet and throw it away. So when you're popping by the store, that's what I'm using right here. And again, this could be used for mounting, this could be used for a photo, this could be used to go into your die cutting machine. So many fun uses. Oh, I'm running out of drying space. All right, so I know I did this. Oops, let me clean that off real fast. I set myself up. There it is. You know, it's so funny. I do all of this setup ahead of time so that you won't have to wait for something to dry. And I put it in, you know, I put it in a good spot, a really safe spot. And then I can't find it. I've either put something on top of it or I've put it away so carefully on my table so as not to disturb it that I find it like an hour after I go off the air. But I found it. There it is. Okay. So I was doing a quick project and I was like, ooh, I want to do, this is dune. So here's the dune. And I did it with that birch trees. And I said, oh, I want to do it on something with a color. So this is actually some paper that I made using terre verte and a little bit of lime green. I must have had some left on my palette, and I was actually using a brayer to just go zoom, 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 zoom with whatever color I had left over. I just brayered it on. And I let it dry, and of course, I used a piece of it, and this was sitting in my little green box. So I took the dune, and I took the birch trees, and I went shoop. And then just like I did a few seconds ago, then I took the Tacky-when-Dry, and I just went lightly on top. And you can't really see it unless I tilt it, like right. You can kind of see that? You see that little line right there? That's Tacky-when-Dry. So I'm trying to, ooh, maybe green, maybe. So I was kind of thinking, what do I want to do? Like that could really pop nicely. But then there's this, I think this one is the terre verte. That would be pretty. But there's also, I mean, ooh, well, there's also just gold. I mean, gold could be really, really pretty. And then this, you can tell I used this once before for the birch trees. This is very matte. This will be very tone on tone, so I wouldn't do the dune with the dune. That is not going to pop. And you know, that's going to look very, very monotone. Okay, so I'm going to do straight up champagne gold. I'm going to warm this up a little bit. And I'm not drying it, although you can dry it this way. You want to also be careful that you don't bubble it. But I'm just going to do a little section at a time. And I'm running my finger. So you remember it goes the pretty side up. So whatever color you're putting down, that's what you should see. And I'm just pressing with my finger. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Pretty, pretty. Let's see. So in this technique, it's very brush stroked. So you can, so it's, you know, it's kind of, see that? Oof, that is so pretty. Let me do this section right here. I'll lay it down. So this is Tacky-when-Dry. right over the stencil butter. The stencil butter was wet, and then I did Tacky-when-Dry right over it. Oh, look at that. You see a little bit right there. Oof. Oh, I missed some spots right here. The reveal is just so pretty. So pretty. Let's see. So you have to kind of tilt it. Oh, I see a little bit right there. Let me see if I get that. Right here. And now I'm going to just slide it back. Oh, wow. So imagine, let me trim it so you can kind of get an idea of what I see as a potential. So I trim it first so I kind of know this is what I'm working with. Okay. I feel like I've got a little more Tacky-when-Dry going on right there. Let me see if I get a little. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So then I have something like this, but I'm thinking, oof, as a bookmark, maybe I would even do this. I like that. And then maybe I would mount it, maybe I'd mount it on one more thing, punch a hole, pretty ribbon, and that's kind of fun. Or, you know, I'm all about gilding the lily. I mean, you could take a pen and you could, you know, just trace. And you know how much fun it is to buy a new pen, right? And just go around everything and give it a little more detail. Okay, so you kind of getting the idea of what that's looking like. Look at that. You could do this in front of the TV, have a bunch of these, and just with your pen, just mindlessly just trace, punch holes. If you have a book club, this is a fun little gift. So, that was, now you get how I got that. And like I said, I mounted, this is a square card, very pretty. This was done with, I think, I don't know if it was Ocean Mist. It feels like it might have been Ocean Mist as the background. And then Dune through the birch trees. And I guess I did do Dune. It is tone on tone. Very subtle. And then this is our Grateful stencil. Now what I wanted to show you too is this is the our Snowflakes stencil. And here you go with this is all Tacky-when-Dry and foil. Look at that. I mean, it really, really is special when you use Tacky-when-Dry with the foil. How long does Tacky-when-Dry stay tacky? Okay, that is a super good question. It stays tacky a very long time. And probably to, you know, you'll be pleasantly surprised or surprised, because it'll be so tacky and then you won't realize it and you'll put something down on it. Now, if you are doing something like I was working on another project over here with the Tacky-when-Dry, so I made my paper. Ooh, see those ferns? So let's say I want to take this on a retreat with me, and I'm going to use this as, you know, all these pretty ferns. I'm going to use these. Let me tilt again. Ah, there we go. I'm going to use these in a scrapbook layout. So this is going to be maybe a camping trip, and then I've got, you know, with the water, and then I'm going to do something, maybe I'll even do gold, you know, some gold foil. But I want to take this with me. So what you need to do is after it dries, and how long does it, you want it definitely, I always think of overnight. You know, do you see how it's like, if I don't turn it, you don't see it? That's how you know it's ready to go. And then you see how I tilt it and it's like glass. That's how you know it's ready. If you see even a little bit of white, it's not ready. But I take some wax paper and I put a sheet of wax paper down, and then I just make a stack of all of my Tacky-when-Dry pieces, and it will stay for a very long time. And then if it's super cold, like sometimes I'm telling you it was like 60 degrees in my studio, I do warm it up a little bit, and the warming of it, it just makes it like, I want to say gelatinous a little bit. It just makes it even more flexible, and it grabs onto the foil that much better. And remember, you use the ball of your finger, rub, rub, rub. Don't use your fingernail, use the ball, the tips of your fingers, not your fingernails. Let's see. Oh, shaker background. You guys have such great ideas. Pretty palette. All right. So I will turn this back. Let's see if how talented I am. And say a quick hello, goodbye. Boop. There we go. Oh, helps for me not to put my finger in the place. Take my little. I always pull my hair back so I don't end up with long Jaime hairs in my project. So let's see. Any other questions? I'm looking. Great tips. I'm so glad. Awesome. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for supporting us and for supporting Courtney. She has a great store. She works really hard. You are helping small businesses stay alive in this crazy, crazy time. So thank you. And if you have any questions, just shoot them off to Courtney, and she will probably have the answer. And if she doesn't, she will find us. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.